Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Virtual Flight Diaries. And we got two birds with one stone right here. So we have the release of the Skyward Simulations DA50 RG. For those that don't know, RG stands for Retractable Gear. So Diamond Aviation produced a DA50 that had fixed gear. And if you look at the stats for that, it's completely a completely different plane. But they made this DA50. It became certified for manufacturing in 2023, so it is a brand new type of plane. It retails for about $1.5 million with all the options. So these are all rich and famous type of planes, just like the DA42 and so on. Of course, the Cow's DA42 is absolutely one of my favorite renditions of Diamond aircraft in the sim so far. Also for you, I have the copy of the newly released Beyond ATC, an AI air traffic control. And although it is not perfect, it is better than I expected. There are bugs, but the designers of the program were very forthcoming in saying that this is early release and it is going to encounter problems. They've been updating this thing almost daily. So one of the major issues I've had is ATIS doesn't work for me. So, when I did the test flight for this stream, there's no ATIS here at Wings Field, but the ATIS at Williamsburg International did work. So we'll see tonight. Excuse me, just take a little drink there. So let's take a look. This thing costs $16 US. And although it is not as high fidelity as the Cow's DA42, it is darn close. So there is not too much that I would say I have, cons about, especially for the price point. You can't beat $16. The flight model seems stable. I've never flown a Diamond, so I can't, attest to its accuracy, but it flies nice in the sim. The systems seem stable as well. I can't complain. I've flown a bunch of hours already in this plane, and I haven't found any problems. Other than some very minor ones. The landing lights and taxi lights seemed a little dim, as well as the strobes. But they can actually all be fixed in the configs if you want. So I'm they've said that they're going to come up with probably the first update this weekend. We'll see. I don't know what exactly they're going to be fixing on it. Maybe the lighting. I don't know. I am going to be working on a better lighting rendition for it, and I'll be uploading that to Flight Sim.to. So we're going to be flying from Wings Field, my home airport, to Newport News, Williamsburg International. I've been waiting for a a scenery for wings, and it just recently came out at Flight MTO for free. As you can see, all the the buildings are there. It looks really nice. There's even a swimming pool here somewhere. So let's get started. So if everyone's familiar with the DA42, the DA62, and the DA, other Diamond aircraft, the layout is similar. And the systems are similar. So if you're familiar with the cows DA42, you're not going to have any problems feeling at home in this plane. All right, so let's get powered up. Let's get Beyond ATC powered up, and let's get in the air. So I'm going to show you. So this is Beyond ATC. So this is the screen. I just wanted to show you the roadmap that they have set up. So this is the core system. It's IFR only. It really is heavy catered to airliners, although I'm going to demonstrate GA aircraft work just as well. So the first update will be their traffic injection model, so that we're not alone in the sky. And then they're going to upgrade to the other traffic injection model, so on and so forth. As you can see, VFR is in the works. So as of right now, you need to file IFR. You need to create a flight plan through SimBrief. SimBrief is free. It helps to have Navigraph, but Navigraph isn't a subscription. But you definitely need a SimBrief profile. You see they're going to be doing emergency procedures as well, which will be really cool. Be able to declare emergency and have ATC assist you. So I found that starting, I don't know if this is anything, but I found that starting the Beyond ATC after you've already started the simulator seems to work better for it.
Beyond ATC connected.
So see it right there, just read my SimBrief flight plan. So we are November 32 Delta. So it's supposed to be Diamond November 32 Delta, but they're not going to say that because they're really geared towards airlines right now. So although I can say, Diamond 32 Delta, they're not going to repeat that. So like I said, so I'm going to keep this screen up because there's some different things here. So let's take a look real quick at this. Low performance mode. This has to do with when traffic injection comes in. If you have problems with frame rates based on traffic and movement, you can turn this on and it'll degrade the quality of the injection so that you have better frame rates. There's some new additions here. So let's see. This forces basic voice accents to use English-based language models for easier to understand accents. This only affects the basic voice model. If you're using a premium voice, this option will have no effect. Okay, so I'm gonna start out with the basic voice models, which are free. And about halfway through the flight, I'm going to switch to the premium, so you get to see what that is. So this is the premium voice models are not free. So you have to buy character credits. You start out with 50,000 when you buy the base model of Beyond ATC, which is only $30. I mean, we spend more on airplanes to have what I consider, although it's not perfect, it is light years better than the base Microsoft Flight Simulator ATC. So you get 50,000. Just a quick reference on an idea of how much characters you use. I flew a 2.5-hour flight with Premium Voice from start to finish, and I used 6,362 characters. So, granted, traffic will increase that, but you can choose the controllers to be premium and traffic to be basic, so you can keep that low. And you're going to see that the basic voices are pretty good. Now I heard, and this is why I guess they added this, I heard that the European accents were kind of rough. So let's see here. Preferred virtual airline call sign. If your call sign is common to a real-life airline and a virtual airline, Beyond ATC will choose the virtual airline. I'll keep that off for now. So that's that. This is the voice volume. This is the UI sound. So this, I leave this on. I mean, I'm used to different radios making a tone sound. So it's not uncommon for a radio to make a tone sound to designate a connection. It just offers an audible beep that lets you know that the transmission was accepted. Also, it'll alert you if you lose connection. So it's always good to know instead of, hey, why is an ATC talking to me? You lost connection. So you could shut this off, but I'm going to keep it on for now. That way we know that we have a good connection. I also turned radio degradation simulation on, so it simulates the fade, where faraway transmissions sound more staticky. Makes it sound a little more realistic, although the range is kind of short compared to the real world VHF, in my opinion. Auto response voice. You can pick US female, US male, UK female. There's also premium voices. If you choose these, it will cost credits. So these are famous YouTubers. You got EasyJet Sim Pilot, Overkill Simulations, John Paviano. They got to imprint their voice into the AI system. I'm leaving on a US female, and I'm also going to demonstrate the auto response as well. Microphone speech recognition test. It's not Windows. You don't have to train your voice. This is just to see if your microphone's working. I've done the test, and everything appears to be working. So let's get going here. Always on top so it doesn't disappear. So we're going to close up the canopy. I guess I got to go slide over. Get all the doors closed up So we're taking 3 passengers and 100 pounds of cargo. We've loaded on about 20 gallons of fuel, which would cost us at Wingsfield, I wrote that down, $280 of Jet A. So yes, this has Continental CD300 diesel engine in it, putting out 300 horsepower. The DA series Diamond aircraft are going to the more reliable diesel engines. I believe the DA50 still has a avgas engine, but don't quote me on that one. All right, so let's power up, and we're going to call for our clearance. So battery master can come on. So there's not a very good checklist that comes with it. There is an in-system checklist, but it only takes you up to takeoff. So I'm waiting for somebody's going to produce a checklist for this. So we'll wait for that. Right now we'll do the flow. So everything's off. We're going to be starting our engines, so we start the strobes. There's no beacon light. So you can see failures aren't modeled and the circuit breakers aren't modeled. But it's still good, guys. All right. So we can get started here. So cow flap is open. I'm going to set the takeoff trim. Fuel is in the normal position. So we don't touch this. This fuel pump is for emergencies only. And I'll explain the fuel transfer as we go. You're going to need to use this. So, going to make sure the alternators are on. VADEC is in auto. And we're going to do a ICE system test. That system's good. Alternator fail is expected. So let's get started. So we're going to turn the engine master on. And just like a diesel, it's got a glow plug, so we have to wait for the glow plug to thing. So once that happens, clear prop. And fire up those engines. So we're gonna check to make sure we have oil pressure. Oil temperature is coming up. Our coolant temperature is good. Our gearbox temperature is good. And we have good voltage. So these are all in the green. We're also going to make that we're below 680 on the RPMs. And then we're going to put it into ground idle. So now that we're all fired up here, let's get our clearances. So, like I said, Wings has an AWOS and not a ATIS. So there's no radio call. You can call on phone to get the field weather report, but we're just going to get the weather report from Active Sky FS. So Wings field, so we have 2958 on the pressure. Pretty low pressure. It's nice and clear out. So 260 at 9. So we're going to be taking off runway 24. Well, that's kind of what we need. So avionics master can come on. So I have auto tune on because the G1000 is a little slow to tune. So auto tune will automatically, after you've tuned the first radio frequency, will automatically tune the radio frequencies and then on for center and approach and so forth. So also you can come to this click, so you just click on this and you come to this screen, you can just click on the frequency and it'll tune it. So you see Philadelphia clearance, that's what we're tuned into. So there's two things to do. You can use voice, which I'll be using, or you can click on these if you don't want to. So you could totally run this without a microphone if you want. So let's get started here. Get our clearance. Oh, Philadelphia clearance, Diamond 332 Delta. Request IFR to Williamsburg International.
November 32 Delta, Philadelphia clearance, cleared to Newport News / Williamsburg Airport. Radar vectors Medina VOR, then as filed. Maintain 4,000. Expect 8,000, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 126.85. Squawk 4236.
So it gives you these little reminders to help you with learning how to do the readback. So clear to Newport News, Williamsburg Airport. Radar vectors to Medina, then as filed. Climb and maintain 4,000. Expect 8,000, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency on 12685. Squawk 4236. Oop, forgot to get my call sign.
November 32 Delta, readback correct. Start or taxi at pilot's discretion. Hold for release. Report holding short runway 24 with Philadelphia departure 126.85.
Taxi at pilot's discretion. Hold for release. Report holding short runway 24 with Philadelphia departure on 126.85. November 32 Delta. So this is going to also be a great learning tool for those that want to fly on VATSIM, because this is going to build your confidence in doing readbacks, which is, you know, a good thing. So clearance isn't a switchover, so you're going to have to go to track on, which will be departure. And then we're going to taxi out, and see if I can shrink this a little bit just to get a better view of what's going on outside, because the views are a little bit short, as you can see, but or I should say a little bit tight. But I've never sat in a real one, so I don't know if this is legit or not. So let's just set our altitude, climbing to 4,000. I have keybinds set up for this just to make life easier. I can also set the heading bug, so we're going to be taking off runway 24, so that's .240. Okay. So let's taxi out. So position light can come on, taxi light can come on. Gonna get a little integral lighting going here. Let me bring it back to a little earlier in the day, just to so we get to have some views. And like I said, the sim at night can be kind of bland. Alright, so we're going to release the parking brake. Set fuel to emergency. So emergency is going to run on the auxiliary tank. Oh, one thing we could do is we have Bose noise canceling headsets. Quiet that down a little bit. Just a quick view of our. So these sounds were done by Boris Audio Works. That guy's a genius when it comes to sound for Flight Simulator. Oh, before we get going, let's before we forget, I should say, let's set our transponder. So what did it say? 4236. And then we're going to turn it on. So then we're all set to go for now. All right. So now let's get going. And what did I say? Runway 24, right? Why am I going the wrong way, guys? So there's a lot of torque on this plane. So it has a tendency to, veer to the left. So I set a keybind for rudder trim to help stabilize the trim on it. But I haven't used it yet, so I'm going to trim out for takeoff and see if it makes things better. But you're going to always want to keep tapping that right rudder, keep it on the center line. So, but you guys heard the response. That's the basic voices. The response is pretty good for the basic voices. In America, I haven't tried the European ones. I've seen some videos, and they were pretty horrible. But I believe they fixed them. So, and that's what that you can turn that on. That it cleans up the accents in the basic voice model. All right, so we're going to do some run-ups. Before we get going, we'll go over to the run-up area. So there's no VFR, so I probably should have done a traffic call. So Wingsfield traffic, November 32 Delta, taxiing runway 24. We'll be doing a run-up, Wingsfield traffic. All right, parking brake set. So the first thing we're going to do is a full power test, and we're just going to see if everything stays in the green, and that we're going to be expecting to be able to get full power out of the plane. You don't want to do it very long. Although you can't break this plane, the real one, you'd break it. All right, and then we're going to do the FADEC test. All those systems are working. We're going to force B. No failures. Back to auto. So for takeoff, we're going to go to normal. Now look, everything's in the green. I'm going to show you guys how to do this fuel imbalance and a bug in the system that hopefully they correct. So, pitot heat can come on. Stall heat fail is expected. You don't touch the emergency battery system, electrical system. If you do, it shuts things off. And while we're in the run-up area, we're going to do our flight plan. We forgot to do that. So it's typical working title. We're going to start off at Kalo, Wingsfield. I'm going to do an en route. So we're taking off runway 24. So MXE is the Modena VOR. Gotta hit the keyboard button. And then we're going down to DuPont Wilmington. So that's DQO. And then to Salisbury, Delaware. Oops, have to hit that key button. SBY. And then our destination is KPHF. Newport News, Williamsburg International. Then we're going to put our procedures in. So we're going to be expecting runway 20. We're going to set up our approach. We're going to do the RNAV runway 20 with the Cape transition. And we don't need any medium minimums today. And then we're just going to load that in. And then we're all set with our flight plan. So initially we're going to be vectored to Modena, so we don't need, and once we get to our hand it off to center, they're gonna give us a direct as filed. So all right, flight plan's in. I'm going to turn on the flight director. And head out to the runway. I can break off. So unlike the DA42, which does a flaps up takeoff, this has a takeoff position. I'll make our radio call. Philadelphia departure, November 32 Delta, holding short runway 24, ready for release.
November 32 Delta, released for departure. Clearance void if not off by 2030 Zulu. If not off by 2030 Zulu, do not contact later than 2040 Zulu. Time now 29 Zulu.
Clear for departure, void if not off by 2030 Zulu. November 32 Delta. So, that's that. Wings traffic, November 32 Delta, taking off runway 24. Wings traffic. I would have also called west departure, but I didn't. Practice makes perfect. Alright, so I'm gonna give it a little right rudder trim. See if that helps on takeoff. If I need to use less rudder. It may actually be detrimental. Well, we're gonna see. Alright, so this plane uses full power for takeoff. Yeah, there's no difference. So just give it some rudder. So we rotated about 68 knots. There's our rotation speed. Give it some trim. Try to fly that running right so gear can come up. Autopilot in. And
500.
we're going to do that. Flight level change. And we're going to go to 40. Alright, so never set the thing. Philadelphia departure, November 32 Delta, is through 1,300 feet for 4,000 feet.
November 32 Delta, Philadelphia departure, radar contact, climb and maintain 8,000, altimeter 2958.
So we were cleared to 8,000 right away. So the big thing we're missing is that ATC chatter of other aircraft. And I think we're gonna have to that'll all change once the
November 32 Delta, Philadelphia departure, radar contact, climb and maintain 8,000, altimeter 2958.
Climb and maintain 8,000 for November 32 Delta.
November 32 Delta, turn right, heading 255.
Right to 255. November 32 Delta. Boy, having the keybinds for the autopilot makes things way easier. So we can bring the flaps up. We're under power. So also 5 minutes you have at max power. So we can set the max continuous power, which is 92%. 91, 92. And that's what we're going to climb out at. So if you look at our map, Beyond ATC has vectored us right to the Modena VOR. I'm going to show you the auto respond for the next radio call. So you can go totally hands-free. You don't even need a headset to run this program, which is pretty cool. Climbing out. Alright. What did we say? 2958. So that's where we're at. 2958. Beautiful evening to go flying. It was a little turbulent earlier, but the air seemed to smooth out a bit. Still getting bounced a little bit, but not too bad. So we're looking at about an hour flight. We're going to go over some, more of the Beyond ATC. And you can see how it operates with general aviation aircraft. But remember what I was telling you about it's not, even though I said diamond in the beginning, it's not repeating that. I imagine that's all going to be fixed in future updates. So So we can actually climb a little faster.
November 32 Delta, contact New York Center 124.62.
Contact New York Center 124.62, November 32 Delta. Have a good day.
You see, auto response, and then it's going to auto switch. You can go completely automatic.
New York Center, November 32 Delta, leaving 5,300 for 8,000.
November 32 Delta, New York Center, roger. November 32 Delta, cleared direct Medina VOR. Resume own navigation.
Cleared direct Medina VOR. Resume own navigation. November 32 Delta.
We're slightly parallel, so we're going to head over to our track line. Now, I want to practice my ATC, so I'm going to shut off the auto response. So when we get the first call for Washington is when I'm going to then switch over to the premium voices so you can get a picture. In some aspects, I don't see much of a difference.
November 32 Delta, contact New York Center 135.45.
Over to 135.45 for November 32 Delta. New York Center, November 32 Delta, leaving 6,400 for 8,000.
November 32 Delta, New York Center, roger.
We have GPS capture. Alright, so we can shut off these lights. Alright, so our fuel hasn't quite gone there yet. So the way this works is it draws from the left tank and feeds from the auxiliary tank, but only with the transfer pump. So the way it's supposed to be in the real plane is you would turn the fuel transfer pump on at takeoff, and the pump will then, so when fuel gets used from the tank, the main tank, the pump will automatically pump it in from the auxiliary tank so that it's constantly balanced. When it evens out, it shuts off automatically and then does this whole thing automatically. They didn't model it, so we have to manage our fuel balance. So when this gets down a little bit, when we start getting off balance, we'll turn on the fuel pump, even them out, and then shut off the fuel pump. It's been reported as a bug, and hopefully they get it fixed. So we're up at cruise altitude. I'm going to let our speed climb up a little bit, then I'll bring it back to our cruise power setting. So because it's FADEC, there's no prop control, so the FADEC computer controls the RPM to manage the best. If you remember from my DA52 video, I explained the whole thing about how FADEC works. But it's essentially a computer that manages the engine power, the RPMs versus engine power for the optimal engine usage. So you can't over rev the engine. You can give it too much power, which then can cause damage. But all right, so I'm gonna bring it back down to 80 for our cruise, because although it would have cost us $280, it didn't really cost us $280. Alright, so I'm going to turn the controller voice to premium. That way you guys can see premium voice. So you get 50,000 of these, but for $10 you can reload it with 250,000. So at 6,300 to 8,000 characters, 250,000 in your slot, you're looking at a lot of usage before you run out. So I'm thinking that even with traffic voice model, we'll have to see when that comes, but even with traffic voice model, I think we're looking at between 14 and 18,000 characters usage per flight on a 3-hour flight. That's not bad, especially if you got 250,000 in the bank. We've got a little bit of a headwind here, but we're going to be turning into a tailwind soon. So we're cruising at about 142 knots. So you can see the main tank is off balance. So we're just going to turn the transport pump on for a minute. Advisory letting you know it's on. And you're going to see that this is going to slink down. Once it's evened up, we'll shut it off. And we'll do that for the whole trip. Try to keep it balanced because it likes to be balanced. It's a little squirrely when you're off balance. I didn't know about the fuel transfer in the beginning, and I flew a whole flight burning the main tank out, and when I disconnected the autopilot, whoa, the plane was very hard to control because it was out of balance. So also I'm going to demonstrate the click spot too. You don't have voice and you don't want the auto respond on. But you can see it tracks the magenta line really well. I haven't had any problems with this autopilot. It's all working title, of course. I do not have the Sim Update 15 beta. I'm not in it. So, but I haven't encountered any bugs with this setup. It was funny, the one controller that came on, AI made him sound like Optimus Prime, like to the T. I was getting vectors from Optimus Prime. I know that's loud. Let's get back down. Very very different looking kind of plane. Almost like instead of sitting in it, you sit on it. So this
November 32 Delta, contact Washington Center 132.52.
you see the voices are a little crisper, but not much different than the basic. Going over to Washington Center on 132.52, November 32 Delta. Washington Center, good evening. November 32 Delta at 8,000 feet.
November 3-2 Delta, Washington Center, roger.
And they're very consistent on switching to a different person, manning each frequency. I enjoyed so far. There's a lot of people complaining, but if you take it for what it is, what they say it can do, and you don't mind a little bit of bugs, because they are adamant on the fact that it's early access. You're gonna enjoy it. I've had a lot of fun so far. Tomorrow I'm going to post a video of me doing an airline ops, so we can see that. So we can get the airline side of it. It's a little more enriched, especially with the call signs. There is still a vectoring problem. It doesn't. I think they fixed it with this last update, but the altitudes to descend to are all strange. So if it's vectoring you for a visual approach, it wants you to descend down to 1,000, which in most cases is below pattern altitude. So although it doesn't yell at you if you don't go that low, and I've made my own adjustments because in the end we're in charge of our plane. So like I was coming into wings, it vectored me down to 1,000, which I know is a little too low. So I brought it in to 1,500 and I was able to get a better glide path. It didn't mess anything up. So don't want to follow it to the T. It's a little buggy on the descents. IFR descents, it's been okay with telling me to just descend the RNAV or descend that arrival. So it's been pretty good with that. Does anybody watching have any questions? I've put a couple hours into this so far. I could definitely answer some questions. And we'll keep plugging along. So each center, I believe, is sectored off. So that's why it asks. So as we fly through Washington Center, it's going to ask us for a couple of frequency changes. Not as crazy as Microsoft Flight Simulator. But definitely a couple frequency changes. So if we look off to our left, see the Delaware Bay. All the way down there is Cape May Point. Don't think I checked my flight plan on the map. Don't think, nope. We're not going to go past Lewis. We're going to be heading down through the middle of Delaware. There's the opening of the Philadelphia, the Delaware Chesapeake Canal. You take that, go right across to the Chesapeake Bay, which is right over there. Some chill mode going. So this thing can climb up to flight level 200. So above 10,000 you're going to need oxygen. So it does have the oxygen, although don't know if it's modeled. There's a light, different lighting. And I don't think the cabin air is modeled either. I'm going to turn the fan on, get some cooler air going. I mean, it's clickable, but I don't think it's actually modeled. But guys, $16. That cannot beat that. I don't know how they did it. It's a great plane for that price model. And you know they're going to update it, so pick it up. Orbits, you can get it from their website, Skyward Simulations. A fun little GA aircraft with what's around it. You get a better picture of Cape May Point there. And there's Lewis, Delaware right there. So between those 2 points is where the Cape May Lewis ferry crossed. And I rode that a couple times. I've actually went on the ferry across the Lewis and back just for fun.
November 32 Delta, contact Washington Center 125.45. Have a good one.
Over to Washington Center 125.45 for November 32 Delta. Good night. Washington Center, November 32 Delta. Good evening. We're at 8,000 feet.
November 32 Delta, Washington Center, roger.
See, now, the only thing that I noticed different, because I've been following these guys for a while now, you know, way back into the summer of last year when they announced this thing, and I've been watching the previews, and the ATC seemed more lively back then. So like when I said good evening, they would answer good evening. So I don't know what's up with that. I'm wondering if they had to go with a different AI to get that better price point. I'm curious with that. Because it seems like a more of a basic interaction. I mean, you get the interaction, but it's not that human touch that it seemed to have originally. So I don't know what happened. Maybe the different builds, they kind of lost it a little bit, or maybe this build has to take time for the AI to learn. I don't know. But I'm definitely toting it as a great alternative to VATSIM. You know, you get on, the controllers are on, you can still get some ATC interaction, get some practice in. Like I say, practice makes perfect. You know, try to get rid of some of those bad habits, like, you know, saying, you know, frequency changes for my call sign, when it's just a call sign. Or the climb out. You know, you don't want to do the you know, passing 5,500 feet for 8,000. It works in the U.S., but if you were to leave the country, they would think that that's a number. So they would think you're climbing to 8,000. It's really passing 5,500, climbing 8,000. It's supposed to be the proper term, and I have a habit of doing that other way too. But we could use this to try to break those habits. It's going to be a good learning tool too. So let's see what we got. 44 minutes to the top of the set. So much to talk about. I kind of didn't get off the ground right away. What do you think, guys? I think for future videos, I think maybe we'll do the takeoff procedures and then talk about this stuff while we're in the air. Make for more manageable screen times. What do you think? So, talking to you guys, I forgot to shut off the fuel transfer, so we are way off balance here. So the autopilot's going to hold it for us, so we're going to burn some of that fuel off. Unfortunately, I do not think there's a way to put it back. Let's see, maybe the emergency pump? We'll rebalance it. If we don't get it closer, it's gonna make for a very interesting landing. But yeah, that doesn't work. But I know what does. Max continuous power. I'm gonna burn off some of that fuel. And we're going to gain some speed at it too. So yeah, you guys got to be mindful of that transfer pump. That's it. Hopefully they fix it. You set it, forget it. And then it could just be a monitoring thing, and then instead of a managing thing. So let's see, at full power, let's see how far we can go. So we can keep this pace up for almost 2 hours. You always want to keep 30 minutes in reserve. We can get to the Outer Banks with this, at this rate. I mean, cost us a lot of fuel. Oh yeah, we're going to keep noise canceling on. Be yelling at you guys. Let's see if we're... Nope. When we get closer, see if we can tune in the ATIS for Williamsburg.
November 3, 2 Delta. Contact Washington Center 132.05.
And over to 132.05 for November 3-2 Delta. Washington Center, good evening. November 3-2 Delta at 8,000 feet.
November 3-2 Delta, Washington Center, roger.
Oh. She's got a text. Wife is buying a new car. Good for her. Alright, so let's just do a cruise review. Everything's still in the green. Actually, we can warm up the engines a little bit. Close them cowl flaps. But since we're at max continuous power, we're just going to keep an eye on that. It doesn't overtemp. You know what this thing needs? This thing needs an XM radio. Sirius XM. You can get some tunes. cruising right along. It's really going to be, when they get that traffic injection and you're going to get that ATC talking to everybody, this is really going to be good. When they put out the survey for releasing the program as is, because everybody was chomping at the bit, they put in there, release it now, in the state that it's in, or wait for that traffic injection. And I opted for the wait for the traffic injection, because it's just so much better to have to not be alone in the sky. Because in real life, you're not alone in the sky. There's a lot of times, even on VATSIM, that I end up being alone. There's no controllers on, there's nobody else on. No, it's just silence like this. So when I did my test flight the other night, it wasn't as good as today is. It was those thunderstorms rolling through. I used real time, so it was nighttime, and that bright flash, boy, was that was pretty impressive. One thing I did notice was that ATC did not vector me around the thunderstorms. So hopefully that gets implemented, because ATC would have vectored me around the thunder cells. I vectored myself, skirting the edge of the thunder cells, but was using NextRad, which, even though it's not particularly realistic, it was coinciding with the weather. But ATC should have done that for me. So, like I said, hopefully that gets implemented. So when we get past Salisbury, I'm going to see, we should be able to pick up the ATIS. So on a clear day, you can actually see the Chesapeake Bay and the Atlantic Ocean all at the same time. So you can call for descent when you're ready. I'm going to let ATC do it, because I haven't done that yet. I've been calculating my descent and calling for it. I'm going to let ATC call my descent out with this flight. Oh, I seem to have a little connection issue. Hopefully you guys were able to see this. From what it looked like everyone was able to see the stream, so. I tell you what, this right here is real handy, especially if you don't have Navigraph. Because Navigraph, I can look up the frequencies, but so you could run this at all different levels. I can hide this completely and turn off auto tune and make it as realistic as possible, where I'd have to tune the frequencies. That's a lot better with the GTN XI, because then I could just punch them in. This scroll with the mouse, it's not as user friendly. That's why I have auto tune on. So we're coming up on the Salisbury VOR. So the city of Salisbury has a nice airport there. If we were going to, so there's two airports we can go into. You can go into Salisbury and drive over a short distance to Ocean City, Maryland. But Ocean City, Maryland has its own airport. So I'm looking at getting into designing scenery for airports. I've been starting to read about it. I think I'm going to pick Ocean City, Maryland's airport as a jump off point. I'm going to redo that airport. So we'll see how it goes. We are not burning fuel fast enough. Boy, I made a big goof with that one. So we're going to be doing off-balance landing. Oof. I mean, as you guys can see so far, I mean, this plane you're really getting your money's worth out of it. Just some minor cosmetic. I mean, the cockpit modeling texturing is pretty good. You can almost feel that cloth. And then, it'd be nice to have a little latch here.
November 32 Delta, turn left, heading 190, descend and maintain 4000, altimeter 2968, Newport News, Williamsburg Airport landing, runway 25.
Oh, things have changed. Left to 1990, descend and maintain 4000, altimeter is 2968, quick landing runway 25.
November 32 Delta, turn right, heading 220, vectors for the approach.
Right to 220 for November 32 Delta.
November 32 Delta, contact Washington Center 132.55.
Go to 132.55 for November 32 Delta. Washington Center, good evening. November 32 Delta out of 8,000 for descending 4,000.
November 32 Delta, Washington Center, roger.
And bring the power back. So things have changed. I was expecting runway 27. Okay, so let's see if the ATIS is up.
254 Zulu. Wind 260 at 8, visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 29er. Dew point 18. Altimeter 2968. Landing and departing runway 25. Advise on initial contact, you have information X-ray.
So we have X-ray.
Newport News, Williamsburg Airport information X-ray. 254 Zulu. Wind 260 at 8, visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 29er. Dew point 18. Altimeter 2968. Landing and departing runway 25. Advise on initial contact, you have information X-ray.
So we have information X-ray. So see, it works for some airports and it doesn't work for others. I think it has to do with the third-party scenery bug. If it's not getting any information from the airport, Beyond ATC is just not going to transmit it. Bring the power back some more. So I feel that they've descended us a little early in the going thing with Beyond ATC. So 68. Little warm out here. 29 degrees Celsius. Nowadays, Virginia. Thousand to go. Really looking at that off balance fuel. It's getting closer, so it'll be a little better. So I have a feeling we're going to be vectored in for the visual. So it's a little turbulent. So where we're air closer to the ground, and we're going fast, so that really skips us across those turbulent airwaves. Alright, so we can make some adjustments here to our flight plan. I'm going to set up for the ILS approach. Runway 25. We're going to go with the Cape Charles transition. That's a straight in. Just going to activate that approach. Yeah, I have a feeling they're going to either, they might vector us. Let's see, they brought us down way too early. We're still 50 nautical miles out. But we're actually heading towards Cape Charles, so they might vector us for the ILS approach. That'll be cool. That way I can keep the autopilot in longer with this off-balance fuel. Oh, wow. All right. The flight recorder up. Get that ready. So I did notice, like the Cow's Diamond 42. And COW stands for Creators of the World. Another great add-on. I said they're going to be coming up with there's a update in beta already. That looks really good. So when that comes out, I'll do another Diamond video, another DA42 video. But what I noticed is on approach, both the DA42 and the DA50, you got to kind of keep the power in a little bit, just a little bit of power, to try to get those. Because when you drop the power back to idle, it wants to drop like a rock. So you get those softer landings when you keep the power in just until the wheels touch. Takes a lot of practice. I'm still not that good at it. Route 1 is over there. Drove that a couple times. I vacation a lot down in Williamsburg, so it's my go-to place. So we're bouncing around a lot because we are way above turbulent airspeed. So this would be a pretty rough ride if you got air sick, but you'd be looking at the sick bags. So really what you want to be doing is like 130 knots indicated instead of 20 knots faster. Be less bounce. That's why we're going up and down. So it's like the air is moving like waves on an ocean, and that's why, you know, turbulent air, you get bounced up and down because it's a wave. So it's just like being on a boat. And if anyone's ever been on a boat in a rougher ocean, the faster you go, the harder that boat slaps. So that's why we get that. That's why you'd want to slow down, so you just kind of mush through that turbulence. I've been getting good frame rates with both ATC running and with the Skyward Simulations plane. I have it set, because I stream, I have it set at 30 frames per second, and it's been a solid 30 frames this whole flight. So we're out over the Chesapeake. Put our chill shades up. Out over here, and I don't know if I'm going to get to see it, but the the Bay Bridge, that real long bridge that connects mainland Virginia with across the mouth of the Chesapeake. It's modeled. I just don't know if we're close enough. Actually, down here more. It's a cool bridge to drive over, especially when it's a little windy and the seas are rough. A very strange feeling. Now, I saw in the Discord that a lot of people were having connection issues with Beyond ATC. Knock on wood, I haven't had any connection issues yet. It's connected right up with my sim. Like I said, really, the being vectored a descent lower than the pattern altitude, and every once in a while I can't get an ATIS report. No. Those are the two major bugs that I've encountered. And being vectored to parallel to the ILS is a little off-putting, but I read in the reports that in the changelog that this last update that they fixed that. So I'm hoping we get vectored to an ILS because I want to see if it's fixed. Boy, if you were rich, this would be a fun little family plane. At 50% power, we could fly out to almost 1,000 nautical miles. So you could take the family from Wings Field almost to Disney. But it'd be like a 5-hour, 6-hour flight. So with the kids, that might be a little rough. blow out your eardrums. Not sure exactly how loud that is over stream. Probably. I mean, I have my streaming volume turned down a little bit, so maybe it didn't kill you. I wish we stayed up a little higher, because then we'd be moving a little faster. I mean, I could request to go back up, but by the time we climb back up to 8,000 feet, it'll be time to come back down. So, I get that max power in there, try to keep rebalancing the fuel. Looks like we might actually be good. I mean, these diesel engines are running pretty hard, so.
November 32 Delta, contact Norfolk approach 125.7.
We're at Norfolk approach on 125.7 for November 32 Delta. Norfolk approach, November 32 Delta, 4,000 feet with X-ray.
All aircraft be advised information November 32 Delta, verify information Yankee.
At 8, visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 29er. Dew point 18. Altimeter 29er68. Landing and departing runway 25. Advise on initial contact. You have information Yankee. Newport News, Williamsburg.
We have information Yankee, November 32 Delta.
November 32 Delta, request not understood.
Verify information Yankee, November 32 Delta.
November 32 Delta, I didn't get that.
So this happens when it doesn't understand what it is. You kind of have to figure out what AI wants. So, affirm, November 32 Delta.
November 32 Delta, I didn't get that.
I'm just going to leave it. So, you've encountered one of the bugs. Instead of trying to, bang your head against the wall, just let it go. It probably got screwed up when I switched back over to the ATIS. Just wanted to see if the runway changed. So I have scenery for Williamsburg, but I left it off. So I was in the hopes that we'd get it, we'd be able to go down the ATIS. And for those that don't know, ATIS stands for Automatic Terminal Information System. So we should be getting our clearance, unless they're going to be vectoring us for the visual. The other big thing that's a bug that I've encountered is with taxiing. So none of the charts have the ramp numbers like that. So normally when you land, you go, taxiing over to Atlantic Aviation, and they would, give you taxi instructions to there. It wants these ramp numbers, which are not on the chart. So it's almost like a guess, try to figure out where you're going. And then a lot of the other times you don't have any taxi information from the airport, third-party airports that didn't have any taxi pathing built into the scenery. You just get there are no taxiways at this airport, taxi at your own discretion. Like the guys from Beyond ATC have said in their Discord, all that stuff's going to be worked out. So
November 32 Delta, turn right, heading 240.
right to 240 for November 32 Delta. So I don't think we're going to be vectored to the ILS. But that remains to be seen. No Chesapeake Bay Bridge. Too far away. We're close. The airport's right over here. So we're going to be landing soon. Guys, let's see. A couple more minutes. We should be vectoring us lower. So based on these vectors, we're going to be doing a visual. It's no problem because I've been burning Jet A like it was free, which it is. Aha. And we're back in the tolerance for balance. That's good. That makes me happy. A balanced plane is a happy plane. So that right there is the mouth of the York River. And if we were to follow that up, go all the way to Yorktown. And we all know Yorktown is where George Washington pretty much won the Revolutionary War. Surrendered Yorktown. And Lord Cornwallis gave up the fight. And we got our country. Alright guys, what do you got us doing? Getting pretty close. Fog lifted. Still too far away to see the bridge now. Alright. There's our runway. Our airport's right off our nose. Oh. Cloud bank rolled in. I'm not too worried about slowing down. This thing slows down like a brick. It really does. In the cloud, our outside temperature. Where is the outside temperature? Oh, there we are. Ah, 25. Yeah, we're not going to ice up. Gonna open the cowl flaps for landing.
November 3-2 Delta, airport is at your 12 o'clock, 15 miles. Report the field in sight.
Well, I can't see it in the clouds. We do not have the field in sight, November 3-2 Delta.
November 3-2 Delta, cleared visual approach, runway 25.
So, yeah. Well, we're cleared. Cleared visual approach, runway 25, November 3-2 Delta. We can come down.
November 3-2 Delta, contact Newport News Tower 118.7.
Newport News Tower on 118.7 for November 3-2 Delta. I'll drop us down a little bit. Get underneath this cloud layer. Now we'll bring the power way back. Newport News Tower, November 3-2 Delta, on the visual runway 25 approach.
November 3-2 Delta, Newport News Tower, wind 260 at 8. Runway 25 cleared to land.
Cleared to land, runway 25, November 32 Delta. Alright, let's get the flight recorder on. So I'm going to drop the gear early. Get that good gear here. That's going to slow us up. So at 133, we can put the first stage of flaps out. Getting a little low. Get back on the poppies. Below 110, we can go last stage of flaps. Some power in there. Wind is blowing us off the of course. Get some crab in there so we can get back on the runway line. We're a little fast, but we got a little bit of a crosswind going here, so. That crab in there, it's on the runway. Get a little high, power back a little bit, settle down in there. Back on the glide path here. You can see she's very stable. Look at the whole things, you gotta trim it out. Too much trim.
500.
Alright, we're a little high because of that trim balloon. Well, I wish Microsoft Flight Simulator would fix that. Power back. Gotta correct for that height. There we go. Fire down, get into ground effects. Cut the power, flare, flare. 59, butter. Flaps come up.
November 32 Delta, exit right at Alpha.
Right at Alpha for November 32 Delta.
November 32 Delta, contact ground 121.9er.
121.9er for November 32 Delta. Okay. Taxi on the emergency. Newport News ground, November 32 Delta. Request taxi to ramp 26.
November 32 Delta, welcome to Newport News, Williamsburg Airport ramp 26. Scenery at this airport is incomplete and a taxi route cannot be created. Taxi at pilot's discretion.
See? And I don't get it because the other night, ramp 26, it gave me a taxi route, but okay. So it must be incomplete. Taxi ramp 26, pilot's discretion, November 32 Delta. So that's it, folks. That's the end. We're not going to have any more ATC. We're clearance to our parking spot, and that's a demonstration of a full flight with Beyond ATC. And as you can see, we really didn't have that many problems. Little hiccups here and there, but guys, it's really, it's really something you can live with. I mean, it's early access. I think this is going to be, my prediction is it's going to be a pretty good program, and definitely pick up this plane. It's very nice. Or you can't beat it at $16 US. So we're not going to go all the way to ramp 26 because it's all the way up there. So we're going to pull in right here at the passenger terminal. Parking brake will come on. We're going to close out Beyond ATC because we don't need her anymore. So, stall can come off. Avionics can come off. Taxi light can come off. Well, apparently a thunderstorm just popped up. Wow. Okay. And we can shut the engine off. And the rest of the lights can come off in the battery master. Well, that was a quick thunderstorm. That must have been an active sky glitch. Alright, so let's Let's check out that landing. Active sky is wigging out. There must be a thunderstorm brewing down there. Oh, no gear. Back it up, see if our gear can come out. That's gonna look weird. There we go. Great program, but it does glitch a little bit. Alright, so now we got the gear out. Let's get closer. Let's start landing. And now the thunderstorm is moved in. A little off center, but not bad for a crosswind landing. Alright guys, now that the engine has shut off. Well, anyway, I enjoyed this. I hope you got a good look at how Beyond ATC looks. Make sure you check out my channel tomorrow for we're going to do a video. I'm not going to do a live stream tomorrow. We're going to do a video of the of Beyond ATC with an airliner. We'll see how that does. So that was a lot of fun. This plane's a lot of fun. I recommend it. I recommend Beyond ATC. I don't think you're going to regret it in the long run. So until next time, clear skies and smooth landings. Oh, also, although it's never a requirement, if you guys like my channels, like and subscribe, but also click that buy me a coffee link that I have on my channel. Helps support the channel, and I can get more content for you guys. So Thanks for watching. See ya.